Welcome to Parenting Trap, Episode 11, where Alex and I discuss what to do and how to prevent Tattle Tales.
Hi, Barbara.
Hey, Alex. So last episode we talked about lying and sneaky behavior.
Yes.
And so this episode I thought it would be a cool follow-up to talk about tattling. So when kids tell on another kid, right?
Yep.
And I think this ties in really nicely. So, yeah, I think especially if you have if you have two kids, multiple kids, or even sometimes kids in like daycare situations, sometimes you'll hear kid run up and they might say something like, Johnny just hit me with that toy, right? Well, what do you do?
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. Well, sorry, that's a lot right there. I would, in that situation, I would help the kid that came up running to me, and I would say, "Oh, how are you feeling? Are you okay?" Of course. And then I might say, "Do you want to go talk to Johnny?" And I'd go over and maybe try and facilitate a conversation. The concept of tattling is just so weird.
Yeah, it is. I think sometimes the reason it even has power is because adults might actually act on it in some sort of punishing way. So usually the tattler is trying to out the behavior of another child.
Yeah.
And they actually have some expectation that you'll do something about it.
Yes.
And
right.
so if you get out of that cycle, because also kids notoriously, as we talked about in this last episode, sometimes their reality can be different. And each kid in that scenario may have a different interpretation of events. So, how do you even know which one to believe? Well, if you go into it not really thinking that either one might be lying or telling the truth, you can go into it trying to get to the bottom of it and help problem solve with the two.
Right.
And not take sides. That would be
right.
The
Don't take
thing.
sides. Yeah. I mean, I just would not call it tattling because again, that's a negative connotation for what's happening. The child's telling you something. So something happened that upset them, or maybe they are scared. There's lots of reasons a kid will want to go seek the help of an adult. And when we label it tattling, then it's, I don't even know how to put it.
Well, sometimes that even gets, that can create conflict alone amongst children, where they'll start saying like, "Oh, are you going to tattle on me?" And then that creates even further division than the core issue that might be going on.
You never want to discourage your kids from telling you something that is important to them.
Exactly.
That doesn't make any sense. But you also don't want to encourage kids to run off and say someone did something with the expectation that person is going to get in trouble. That's just sadistic and weird.
Right.
So, I would say don't call it tattling, and listen to each situation and deal with that when it comes up.
Yeah. So kind of empathize with the child. And, obviously they're probably feeling big emotions enough so that they are maybe upset about something that happened and, looking to you for help in resolving. That's really, if you really think about what they're doing, they're looking for help to resolve whatever situation occurred. And that's probably a better way to approach the role is, tell me about that. And talking to the other kid. If the kid that came to you doesn't want to talk to the other kid, you could try and have a separate conversation. You could also just let it go, depending on, if you're with a bunch of kids and you don't necessarily, there's too much going on, but, having a conversation with both kids to get their side, just get whatever they think went on and help them resolve that. So that can look a lot of different ways, but it's not coming with judgment on either kids or their behavior.
Mm-hmm. Yes. So it just reminds me of a play date I did when my kids were, 4 or 5 and, 3-ish, 3 or 4 or 5. So I have 2. And I never used punishments at home. And we were at a place where the other kid was getting punished for various behavior. And this was one of the first times they had seen that. And the mom kept threatening to punish the one kid. And my oldest kept running, picked up on it and then kept running in to tell the mom every time the kid did something that he thought. And he even said, you need to, I forget what the punishment was. It was timeout or something. But he kept saying, you need to go put so-and-so in a timeout. Aww. They just did this. You need to do that. He just did this. And I honestly think he thought he was being helpful because the mom was pointing out that there was this thing she didn't like. And when that happened, then the timeout happened. And so, my oldest thought, okay, that's what you do. And it was super awkward.
That is awkward. Yeah. Because then, maybe more traditional parents might view your child as
a tattletale.
It is a complicated issue. If it's something, kids are used to being punished a lot, then you're going to see this behavior more. But once you start taking punishments out of the mix, you won't see tattling anymore because there is no recourse. Instead, kids won't come to you saying so-and-so did X. They might come to you and say that they're frustrated or angry or they need help.
Yep. Or they're worried that the other kid might need help. But it's not coming from that place that we think of when we think of tattling.
Yeah. Yeah. And I don't ever want a kid to think that they, I don't want a kid to think, either kid to ever think that their behavior is so bad that they're, unwanted and unloved. Mm-mm. And, unfun. We all have difficult times and we make mistakes and, all of us should be more forgiving to one another when we do make mistakes with each other.
Right.
So
I don't want my kids to think that there's any thought that they have in their head that I don't want to hear.
Yeah. Yeah. If
they want to share something with me, then I want them to share it with me.
Yeah, absolutely. Your story reminds me of, when I had thought of this as a topic a while ago and then kind of forgot about it. But, when we were at the park recently, someone came up to me and actually tattled on one of the kids that I had brought to the park. And I forget what it was, but it was so, which doesn't make the story very fun, but it was so funny because I just went, oh, that's interesting. Because it was a kid I didn't know at all. It was just a random kid at the park. And it wasn't anything that happened to them. It was something that the kid was just doing that they thought I might not like, like misusing a piece of equipment or something. And I was just like, oh, that's really interesting. Okay. Thanks for letting me know. And they were kind of and then just ran off and played. It was sort of taken aback, but, that kid didn't come up to me again to tell me anything else. And I'm sure that they probably, witnessed other things that the kids I was with were doing. So yeah, anyway, it's interesting and it's really fun to hear what kids have to say about things. I think if we don't, get emotionally involved, we learn so much from how they're behaving and, what's going on in their heads. So, yeah, it's pretty great.
Well, thank you. Yeah, definitely. I don't know what else to add.
I will wrap it up.
All right.
Okay.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks.
Yeah. Don't forget to like and subscribe.
Questions@parentingtrap.com. We'll take any of your questions. Thanks, guys.
Thanks. Bye.